Okay, good morning. Got a bit of good news, got a rather good fix for camera movement, changing camera angle. And as I suspected, Gaussian Splat is actually really useful. So it's the first time I've used it. I've been aware of it for a few years, but I never used it because I didn't really think it was going to be usable or it'd be too much hard work to install. But with this new one that came out, TripoSplat or TripoSplat, I don't know how you say it, I thought I'd give it a whirl, along with a combination of that with Matt Hallett's excellent video on splatting and using QWEN to replace people and the scene in it, and I'll show you in a minute. But as you can see, if you watched my video not yesterday but the day before, I was rather depressed about the amount of work and time and effort it put. I put in dialogue scenes to get to this point here, and yesterday I spent the day installing and then working with TripoSplat, I don't know, well, Gaussian Splats and QWEN, and have managed to come up with these. So as you can see, you've completely changed the angle based on this one or one similar to it, Gaussian Splat to a new position, and then use QWEN to fix the characters back in straight after. Now admittedly this lighting is kind of deceptive because there's less work to do, but what I thought I'd do is I'd actually go through one with you live and show you. So what I'm going to use is this one just as a test, and the thing is, this thing's really fast, so all you have to do for the TripoSplat is download these and put them in the right folders and you're away. It's pretty much it. So let's just fire that off. So that's done in 70 seconds, and as you can see, I just quickly ran it just to show you, but it's very low, it's gentle on the VRAM, so that was hitting in at under 6 gig on the VRAM and low on the memory too. So this was first run, so it's 70 seconds, but they were tending to come in at about 58 seconds for me yesterday once I got on a roll. And you can see it doesn't matter the size, that's a 4K image going in. Now you haven't got the image there, it doesn't always work for some reason, and let's see what we've got here. It's kind of weird, it's put them way out from where I was expecting them to go. But now the next stage, I was working in here and doing print screens, but what I actually do is find the location of the folder where it saves them, and then Windows, even though I'm on Windows 10 and it's out of date, but you know, you get these messages up here, and but that gives me, so yeah, obviously there's going to be issues like they haven't got their legs in and stuff like that, but let's see what it gives me. So what angle do I want to do this from? Let's do a couple of angles actually. Let's try one from there. Now one thing I noticed was you need to give quite a bit of real estate around the outside of them, else it might chop these people off. So I'll do it rather extreme, but the good thing about this bit of 3D kit from Microsoft is you can export the images out quite easily. So let's do that one, and then let's do one from there. Just angle 2. And then let's do one like some kind of shot there. That's going to be a bit weird. I don't know how that's going to cope with it. So let's test it. This might actually prove to be a really difficult one, which would be typical, wouldn't it? Anyway, so I've got those out of there, and now we move on to this. I got from Matt Hallett, and there's a link to his YouTube video and everything in there when you download it. So go and watch that, because it'll give you some further ideas, and what he's doing might suit what you need more. All I really need is for his camera angles. And this stage is using QWEN Edit 2511 and the Gaussian Splash, sorry, the Gaussian Splat. Oh, he's got it Splash. Lora that will now fix this up for you. So what you do is you give it the crappy splatty that you just created. Let's start with what will hopefully work more easily the first time. And damn, I can't remember what image I used. Oh yeah, I can. That one. And you give it the original. So you give it your splat affected image. Now I think you're probably better off with it on a black background, but I haven't been able to work out how to do that in that software yet. It's also quite small, and that's not of great concern because there's one more stage I do after this, but yeah, so you fire it through this thing, and I haven't changed anything really other than put my models in instead of his, and that's it. And then you run that, and let's see how long that one takes. Now this is going to cause me a problem, and it's happening because I'm filming this at the moment. Otherwise this would be flat once I move to that screen. QWEN is always considerably slower, probably into my swap file there. Anyway, there you go. So finished, 114 seconds, so it's still not bad. And would you look at that? So it's worked it out. Let me just finish the other two while we've got it loaded up. So the other two was that one. So again, using the original ref image and the Lora and that text prompt, we'll be doing all the fancy stuff. Now, if you're wondering why I keep switching to this, it's a trick because it actually reduces this considerably, and this I call GPU blap. It's not what you want to see. Anything above 15% will start slowing your machine down noticeably, or does with mine. And one of the tricks is to keep an open browser page empty. If you minimize this, it doesn't do it. It still does it. So that's not a trick. You actually have to stay in the browser window. I don't know why. Just one of those things. I mean, the floor it had to take a guess at, but I'm okay with that. And then finally, I don't know what it'll do with that one. Yeah, so she's on the lean, but hey, you know, and we're into the front of the lift, but that actually works. It's kind of figured out what it is, which is good. But there's one more step, and that's going back into Klein image and really using quite a simple prompt, as you'll see momentarily. So hopefully. So this is the stage where I got my results, but they're only at 640, 480. So now I need to boost it up and add the people back in. The background will be less important. It will be important, and I haven't worked on how to make sure that's picture perfect. I did do a test of this. Let me just show you quickly, which I might have deleted. Where's my Gaussians? I did do a test of it, going to an aerial view, and you know, you can see I didn't push anything back in there, but you can see it's giving you good enough. You just need to detail it up a bit, and Klein will do that. This is Klein image. You've got this workflow already. There's nothing changing except that, and that I'm switching it to the multi-image edit. So this will be in the June, the 3rd of June image pack on Patreon, or yeah, on Patreon. I mean, you can access it for free even if you're not on my Patreon, but access it from there. So yeah, so this is basically, you just give it, replace the 4 people in image 1 with the 4 people in image 2 from image 2, maintain lighting and position of people in image 1, and I'm setting it to 2 megapixels for both of those, just so they're equal. Now, someone I showed this to yesterday told me that this is wrong, but they didn't tell me why when I asked, so I'm not really sure what they had an issue with around it, and I'm finding it to work for me. But if anyone knows why someone might have suggested this is the wrong approach to boosting image sizes or reducing them and matching them as you go into this workflow, then, you know, do tell. So again, this is pretty fast, and this is why I was able to get through 13 shots yesterday. And all I'm really doing here in Klein is pushing the people back in, because that's where the viewer will be focused. The background's important, but less so. But it's still, you know, scenes like that, you're not going to worry about finite details, or I'm not at least. But I do worry about their look and also the size of that. And just for the record, this is literally how I sit running everything. I'll sit with these two windows open, my command line so I can see where it's at. This so I can just see, this is also a good indicator if things are going badly. This should usually be flatlining with me on this page, as I said. And that's really where I'm trying to get to with this, so that I can do the creative work, knock out 12 images and then run the rest through batch. Now, I'm not at that stage yet, especially with dialogue, but that's where I'm aiming for, and that's where I'm trying to get to. And if you watch the video from a couple of days ago about dialogue part 2, where I got a bit tragic about it all, is really solving the problems to keep the creative flow going, and that's where I'm at and where I'm headed and what I'm trying to do. And we're done. So let's have a look at that. Hang on a minute. It's cheated. It's done exactly what I didn't want it to do, and it hasn't done before, so that's hilarious. Now, first, this is brilliant, because actually this is a good example of when you run into problems and you then have to solve them. I'll tell you what the problem is in this case. I know what it is. What I did wrong here is that shot is way too similar position-wise to this shot. So it's actually thinking I want to swap them out, which I don't want. I want it to use this as a reference. And I could probably find other ways to word it. But as I looked at it, I realised I've got some other issues going on here. So let me just fix this quickly live for you. And now I'm in Critter. This is where I do a lot of my work. So you're getting some extra skills here, I hope. Now, I bet this fixes it. How much do you want to bet? Reason being, because it's a different position, there's different stuff in there, but it's got enough information, it will go, all right, you want these people placed in there, and hopefully it will keep their positions, because maintain lighting and positional people. So let's see what happens. Oh look, it tried harder on that one. So change of seed had helped, but not quite enough. I should also probably tell them not to look at the camera, but I've been having problems with that in Klein too. Let's see if I can get this working. You know, this is the thing about breaking new ground with things. You think you've got it, and then something will pop up and throw you right off kilter, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? It's all gone wrong. And it's just to be expected. It's just part of the course. You're going to constantly run into roadblocks, trees in the road you weren't expecting, just chaos everywhere all the time. And that's part of the deal of pioneering into new stuff. And, you know, I'm not the first onto this. There's other people doing it. I think Comfy UI posted this out, TripoSplat out yesterday. And Gaussian splatting has been around for donkey's years, and even in Comfy UI for a while. What happens when you're venturing out? There you go, a lot better, a lot closer to the original. Yeah, one of the things I mentioned in the video yesterday is the disconcerting nature of people looking at the camera all the time, and Klein always drives it to that. In fact, even the angle they stood at, I'm still not particularly happy with, but it will do for now. You know, you're not getting perfection out of this, but what you are getting is fast camera change to new positions. And if you've got an issue with an image, come back and work on it, because when I take this to create a video from it, I'm going to start at low res anyway, even though I don't want to have to keep doubling back and fixing stuff up. It is going to it can change a lot on the way to getting to the final result anyway, and quite often I have to go back to images and re-edit them, and it's why I kind of sometimes don't really like making them super wonderful first time round, because often you can waste a lot of time doing that when you have to go back and change extra things that you hadn't realized the model won't like when you run it through the video models. There we go, better. There's still some, I've still got some complaints about this. Now the risk here is the order is different, and I probably should switch them over. In fact, I'm going to. So things to learn. So have we got the order right there? Yep, the order's right there. So you see what I was doing? I was getting the order of people in the positioning right, because that's just going to add confusion otherwise. Replace the 4 people in image 1 with the 4 people from image 2. Maintain lighting position of people in image 1. That should do it. What seed am I doing? 46. Wow. It's messing me around now, isn't it? Change the hair. But individuals, I can fight that back in quite easily. So I'm not too bothered with that. But, you know, thankfully it showed that this can be done. And you kind of get the picture. It's weird it's done that. I wonder why it's done that. What's her hair like there? Nothing like. But I mean, I think at 4 people you're starting to break the machines. Though I've had quite a lot of success with the tests, as you could see, with the larger ones, like taking a shot from, I mean, that was after fixing the splat, so doing different angles, and these, zooming in. It's a work in progress. It's a way to get a new camera angle. You might have to fight some things, but it beats the old ways. So that's a good example of when you're trying to do things cutting edge and it goes wrong, how you deal with it and ways around it, and what you can't hope to fight immediately. But yeah, it's on the path towards fast camera angles, and that's the important thing.